on her.
This is Karen with newclevelandradio.net, and it is time for What in the World with Paul Seaburn and his sidekick, John Donalo. And we're going to talk about some fun things today, right, Paul? Because I need to laugh.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that, Karen. I mean, I'm not glad that you need to laugh, but I'm glad that you. Wait, what am I saying? I'm glad. The
I
answer
knew
is
I would do that.
you stumped me. Stump the host. That's what we're playing here. Stump the host. Yes, we have some fun things to talk about here on What in the World, everybody's favorite weird news podcast. I'm your host, Paul Seaburn, with the weirdest news from around the world. I'm the editor and head writer at mysteriousuniverse.org, where some of you may have heard about What in the World because I have a link to What in the World on my page over at Mysterious Universe. If you're familiar with Mysterious Universe, more paranormal stuff, we're at What in the World, we just cover the weirdest, the funniest, the strangest news that I can find from here, there, everywhere, in space, you name it. And we just have a good time. We talk about the stories and we have a good time. No business, no politics, no religion, none of that depressing stuff from the mainstream media, just a good, fun experience. So the person who was looking forward to having fun is none other than Karen Hale, who is our co-host, our co-host, producer of the show, media mogul at newclevelandradio.net, our platform, host of a number of podcasts herself, and co-host of a number more. Check them all out at newclevelandradio.net. Also check out Yes I Can Coaching with Karen, our sponsor. Karen is a great coach. Check out all the different the great services that she provides in the coaching realm. The other voice that you're about to hear in your second or third ear, I'm not sure, depending on how many you have, is my old buddy John Donalo. John is our other co-host. He is the host of What in the World of Sports with John Donalo, because John knows more about sports than anybody else I know. So he's the perfect guy for that job. Hey, John, how are you?
Oh, I'm well, Paul, and it's good to be able to be useful. So I like the idea of being able to have some kind of value added, so to speak, as we say. But thanks, Paul and Karen, and I'm sure we'll have a great show again. We've been in kind of a good mode here recently, and I'm sure we'll have a good show today.
Good, good. Yeah, we're not going to talk about any Cleveland sports, although John does have his Guardians paraphernalia on because the Guardians are getting close to spring training, I think. Uh,
Yeah,
but
they'll be out in Arizona next week. So
if
yeah.
you were back in Cleveland, you'd be talking about the Browns today uh, because their star player wants to get traded, and that's depressing news. We don't want to hear about that, so we'll
Let's
just
let's sidestep that one, Paul. Yeah, let's
yeah,
sidestep that one.
let's just and thank you to everybody out there who's listening, whether you're listening, you're not listening to us live from what I understand, but you're listening to us in the future. Hopefully we made it to the same date that you're listening to us or watching us on YouTube. We always recommend you watch us on YouTube because I like to include some photos with all the stories. Plus, you get to see, if you're watching, you get to see the cover of my book, What Would You Say to a Naked Space Alien? Which I always like to promote. Some of my favorite UFO encounter stories. So not mine personally, but some that I've read that I think are just hilarious, and I think you'll enjoy them too. All right, what am I talking about today? Oh, we've got some great stuff. We just had Groundhog Day on Sunday, and I'll cover all that, but we're going to be talking about uh, a system of rating groundhogs around the country to see who's more or less accurate than Punxsutawney Phil. So I thought that was pretty cool. There's even one in Cleveland, by the way. Um, Bigfoot goes to divorce court, John. So
What is the world coming to? Oh my
we're going
gosh.
to find out. We're going to find out. Boy, wait till you
Okay.
hear this. It's not what you expect. I don't know what you expect, but it's not what you expect. Um,
Oh.
Amazon has, get ready for this, animal urine for all your animal urine needs. This was a big story this week. You'll hear about this. More strange beer flavors, John, for you to try. Um,
Okay.
bean tossing for good luck. This is if you need some good luck. This is from Japan. They toss beans, and we'll find out why and if it really is lucky. Plus, I got some more odd news. We got some world records. John's got a great sport for us this week. And then we play everybody's favorite weird news game, Bluff the co-host. So you want to stick around for that. Everybody loves that. But first, we'll start with Groundhog Day. So I don't know, John. Is there a groundhog in Florida?
I'll tell you, Paul and Karen and audience, no. In fact, I don't think that there's been any recognition, at least watching the local news about anything local. They had the Pennsylvania Punxsutawney Phil on, right, and what
Yeah.
have you. But to our knowledge, and we've been in Florida for some time, and no, not really. Maybe we're too far south for the groundhog.
Oh, maybe an alligator ate the groundhog. So
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. I have an interesting point to share with you. This is a true story. So I was up early one morning previously, and I look outside and I see a coyote. A
Wow.
coyote is going across on the golf course that where our place is, right? And so
I
I immediately go on the internet to look at this, and it turns out there's 47 counties in the state of Florida. Coyotes are prevalent or inhabit 47 of the counties.
Wow.
So
wow.
that's what it would have been. And this is the only time that I've seen an actual coyote. It was huge too. And
Oh yeah.
for people that know about these things, they are they're individual. They don't even travel in packs very often, but they travel in dawn and at dusk. So it was dawn. So it was kind of that time frame. So, but yeah, I
Wow.
thought it was kind of interesting.
Wow. Yeah, gator food. The I've seen them here at dawn when I go out for a walk. And I have seen two. I actually saw two cross the street in front of me. So, but
Oh,
normally you're right.
wow.
It's normally just one. They're
Yeah, they travel solo. Yeah.
yeah. So we lost it. We completely lost it here as we like to do.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that, audience.
Back
Okay,
to
let's bring it back,
Punxsutawney
Paul.
Phil.
Bring us back here. Bring us back
Back to groundhogs.
to the
Okay,
program.
John.
Yeah.
So Punxsutawney Phil saw his shadow, which and Punxsutawney's in Pennsylvania for the five people who don't know that. Um, I think I have a photo of him too, by the way. Let's get our photos up here while I'm talking about it. The There's what in the world. There's what would you say to a naked space alien? There's Punxsutawney Phil. Okay, so Punxsutawney saw his shadow. That means 6 more weeks of winter in Pennsylvania. That means 12 more weeks of potholes in Cleveland, and
Yeah,
it
good one,
also
Paul.
yeah, it also means 12 more weeks of seeing people outside in Cleveland with their heavy coats on and shorts.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing this in other cities, but I come back to Cleveland and sure enough, there's people in their winter coats and shorts at the grocery store. Go figure. So um, Punxsutawney, I think he needs to lose some weight because his shadow was 20% bigger than it was last year. So I didn't know they measured those kinds of things. But if you don't like his forecast, the United States National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, agrees with you. And they have done a study of all the groundhogs that are weather forecasters in the United States. Um, they found that the most famous one, which is Phil, didn't even crack the top 10. He came in at number 17 of their most accurate
Huh.
groundhog. Yeah, yeah. Number one is Staten Island Chuck. Staten Island Chuck, who predicts the arrival of spring correctly 85% of the time. So he's almost perfect. Um, Chuck didn't see his shadow this year, which means they're going to get an early spring in New York. Of course, in New York, nobody cares. Spring's fine, winter fine. Get out of my way. You know. Uh, number two, down close to you, John, Georgia's General Beauregard is this groundhog, but General Beauregard Lee. He's accurate 80% of the time. So four
Oh,
out of
wow.
five, yeah, 4 out of 5 years, he's correct. He saw his shadow this year, which means 6 more weeks of winter in Georgia, which is why people were throwing peaches at him. Pennsylvania's Punxsutawney Phil was in 17th place. He only gets it right 35% of the time. He's so bad. Punxsutawney officials are thinking about switching to a raccoon because raccoons have those little hands and they could flip a coin, which would at least be right.
That's a good one, Paul. Wow.
50% of the time. John, he's as bad as Tom Brady on his broadcast, predicting what the quarterback's going to do next.
Yeah, right. Tom Brady's not doing a good job with that.
Not doing a good job at all.
No, not at all. Right. Wow.
My favorite is Louisiana. Like Florida, they don't have a groundhog, a weather predictor, but they told the people in Pennsylvania that if they ever get tired of Phil, send him down there. They've got a recipe for him, but they have to run first.
Oh boy.
Now I did some research, and Cleveland has their own groundhog. But it doesn't get promoted that much in Cleveland as it does in some other places around the state. His name is Buckeye Chuck. And believe it or not, Buckeye Chuck used to be in Marion, Ohio, which is southwest of Cleveland. He's now at the Cleveland Museum of Natural History. And Buckeye Chuck is accurate 73% of the time. So he made the top 10. If I remember correctly, he also saw his shadow. So we got 6 more weeks of winter here as well. There we go. That more groundhog news after that. Okay. So, John, are you a fan of the band Queen?
Yes. In fact, a fan of the band Queen. They came out actually in like the early to mid 70s, which kind of coincides at the time when we were in school. And in fact, I liked their older material versus their newer material. Which may sound odd to a lot of people, but I like their older music.
Well, then this is right up your alley. Anita Dobson, who is the wife of the Queen guitarist Brian May, revealed recently that he's not just an astrophysicist, which a lot of people didn't know. He's an astrophysicist. He's also a collector of Star Wars memorabilia, she's not a big fan of him collecting it because she says when they watch the Star Wars movies, it drives her crazy because every time there's a dogfight, he starts singing, "Another one bites the dust."
Oh, very good, Paul. That's a good one. All right.
So the classic line in Bohemian Rhapsody, because he's such a fan of Star Wars, they said that the original line was, "Yoda, I killed a man." You remember that?
Sure, of course. Yeah, right. Sure.
The problem is nobody wants to hear me sing. So anyway, so Brian May studied mathematics and physics at the Imperial College London. He is a smart guy. He graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in physics in 1968 with honors, while he was playing, not in Queen, but in the band he was in before Queen, a band called Smile. And here's a picture, and this is a real picture of Brian May and the other 2 guys in Smile. Now, this is in England, so, they have terrible teeth there. So instead of actually smiling, they have these little fake smile things that they have stuck to their mouth. I don't know if this was the cover of their only album or what, but so he was in Smile, Brian May, with Tim Staffel, who was also in Queen, and eventually the drummer Roger Taylor, who was also in Queen. So the only guy who wasn't in Smile was what's his name, Freddie Mercury.
Wow.
Yeah. So he was still in the band when he's studying for his PhD at Imperial College on reflected light from interplanetary dust and the velocity of dust in the plane of the solar system. That with that kind of stuff, he should have been doing progressive rock, or he should have joined Ziggy
Right, prog
Stardust.
rock. Right.
Yeah. I like Queen too, but they're not progressive rock. So he got his PhD in 2008. So this is quite a while after the band was famous. He worked on what that's about the time that Freddie Mercury passed away. So he had time on his hand. He worked on the New Horizon probe that NASA sent to Pluto. He was on NASA's team that sent the probe to Pluto. He also does asteroid studies for NASA to help them predict if an asteroid is going to hit the Earth. Uh, this is the same guy who wrote Fat Bottom Girls. Okay.
You make the rock and world go round, right?
Yeah, there's a
Wow.
contrast here. He's a PhD in physics and he writes Fat Bottom Girls. And when the aliens come, they're not going to know him for the astrophysics. They're going to want to find the guy who wrote Fat Bottom Girls. That's and Bohemian.
Oh yeah.
So here's another. This was popular on Facebook. I posted this on my Facebook page. For those of you out there who are on Facebook, and haven't left to go to Blue Sky, I do post a lot of. I test out jokes and stories on Facebook. I'm starting to do it on Blue Sky. So follow me on either one of those, and you can be in on the secret stories that we'll be working on for the show. So another one that was popular: a painting of a fisherman smoking his pipe while mending his net. This guy bought this painting for $50 at a Minnesota yard sale. It turned out to be an undiscovered Van Gogh that experts value at, get ready for this, $15 million.
Whoa.
Buys it for $50. Yeah, if he sold it at an auction, they estimate that it's worth $15 million. According to the buyer, his wife no longer picks on him for any of these paintings that he buys, like the basement full of Velvet Elvis that he hasn't been able to. This makes up for all those paintings. You can tell it's a Van Gogh, by the way, if you're looking at the painting, because the fisherman's ear is sewed on with fishing line.
No.
Yeah, I know. I'll give that one a horn. The buyer's thrilled, but he says you should have seen the fisherman painting that got away from another garage sale. Here's my question: who would pay $50 for this painting? Because to me, it's the ugliest thing I've ever seen. I wouldn't pay $50 for it, and I do go to garage sales. I'm not a big fan of buying paintings at garage sales, but I don't know. My lovely wife, if I brought something home like that, the first thing she would say is, "Oh, it's perfect. You can put it in this shed over that hole."
Well, there's some kind of justice in the world, Paul.
That's right. $50 will give you a perfect patch for the hole in the roof. So then the question is, why would Van Gogh paint a fisherman? He's not known for that kind of painting.
Right.
But,
that's exactly right, Paul. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. John, you've been to the art museum many times. So what the experts are saying is that the fisherman was actually trying to convince Van Gogh to paint a picture of his daughter instead, and he was hoping that Van Gogh would then call her the painting the Mona Lobster. So
get the horn for that one too, Paul. You know that was
okay. Moving on to animals. We love talking about animals and what in the world. So this one comes from China. The Yan Baifenga Wildlife Zoo in China, in their Sichuan province, has started selling bottled urine from Siberian tigers for $7 a bottle. Now, it's a real tiny bottle, but it's still a bottle of urine from a Siberian tiger because it's a traditional Chinese remedy for arthritis. Also, if you're a mail carrier, it keeps the dogs away too. But
oh my gosh!
Now these are bigger bottles here, but the $7 you only get a real tiny bottle. The zoo recommends if you want to try this stuff on your arthritis, to take the tiger's urine, you mix it with white wine, and apply it to the affected area with slices of ginger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of
We,
what kind of recipe is that? That's a weird
well, John,
recipe.
that's what I said. A lot of people are all of a sudden getting arthritis of the tongue and kind of, trying to see if this will taste good.
Oh my gosh.
I don't
Wow.
know. Yeah. So you can't get the tiger's urine on Amazon, but I went to Amazon to see if you could get some other kinds of urine. And believe it or not, on Amazon, you can get wolf urine. This is people use this in my neighborhood to keep the deer out of their yard.
Oh,
There's yeah, there's
okay.
no wolves in Cleveland, Ohio, but now that John left, there's no wolves in Cleveland.
Hey, there's something to that, folks.
So not only that, but now this you can get in Cleveland, Ohio, coyote urine. So you can get that on Amazon. By the way, if you're interested, the wolf urine is $15 for 8 ounces, coyote urine $25 for 16 ounces. You can also get mountain lion urine. Now I've heard that there has been a sighting of a mountain lion in Ohio. It hasn't been for a while. There's lynxes, which are smaller cats. The mountain lion urine, I don't have a price on that one. But if you're looking for a bargain, you can get a 3-pack
Oh,
of
Oh, jeez. Hey,
coyote urine. Yeah, a
not to be the
coyote.
devil's wait, not to be the devil's advocate on this. Wait, not to be devil's advocate on this, but how do we know that this is exactly what the product is?
You just, oh, ye of
Oh,
no
ye of
faith.
little faith. Oh, yeah. I'm just saying. I mean, how do you know
Who
it
would lie?
is?
Who would lie about selling bottles of
Hey,
coyote urine?
Paul and Karen guys, it takes all kinds. I'm just
yeah.
being skeptical. That's all.
Well, believe it or not, these bottles, if you're looking at them, a lot of them come from the same company, Lennon's, and it says on the bottle Sherry Chagnon and Family, and it gives their website, and it says serving trappers since 1924. So they've been in this business for years. It must be good if they've been in business for 100 years. 100
Yeah, you
years.
would
So
think so, right? Wow.
it's so good that I've decided to get into it myself. So if you send me $10, I will send you some podcast host urine, which is
Oh,
guaranteed to keep away Bigfoot and the Men in Black. So
okay. All right. Well, you want to keep those entities away from you, that's for sure.
there you go. That's right, John. Okay. So speaking of Bigfoot, we don't get too many paranormal sports stories on what in the world, but when we do, John is always on top of them because that's his bailiwick. Even more so when Bigfoot is involved. And we had a story last week when he told us about the new NHL hockey team in Utah that moved from Arizona. They were the Coyotes to bring all this together. They used to be the Coyote. They moved to Utah. They wanted to be called the Yetis. And the people who make the Yeti coolers said, no, you can't be it because, we own the trademark. Get a life. So John vowed last week to keep us up to date. And believe it or not, it was in the news again this week. So, John, fill us in on the Utah not Yetis.
Thanks, Paul. So that's right. The Utah team was blocked from using the name Yetis, so they put a vote to their fans to come up with a new name. The top three choices were the Utah Hockey Club, which is the current name of the team, the Utah Mammoth, and the Utah Wasatch, which is a Utah mountain range.
Wasatch? I thought that's what you said when you didn't hear something. What's that you say?
No,
Wasatch?
wait, no, wait. No, no. You would think that, Paul, on the surface, but we'll pretend that we didn't hear that one. But needless to say, none of those is as popular as the Yetis. And fans are vowing to call them that no matter what the final vote is.
Wow. This sounds like fans of that team that's now the Cleveland Guardians who vowed to call them by the old name no matter what they're called now. So we can relate to that.
What's that you say? This story isn't over yet, and I'll keep on top of it for our loyal listeners.
Oh, great. Thanks, John. I was just showing the pictures of those jerseys. I love their jerseys. I think, especially,
I think they look cool. I think
yeah,
all their jerseys look cool. Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, we definitely want to keep on top of that one. So, while we're on the subject of Bigfoot, I always say, you know something is real when lawyers get involved. So, if
That is
lawyers
true.
a way to make money, that means it's real. So this now applies to Bigfoot. Um, this is in British Columbia. No, Bigfoot didn't commit a crime. That's not why the lawyers are involved. It's worse. Bigfoot caused a divorce. And before you go running to see if you can find a video of the woman cheating on her husband with Bigfoot, I have a photo over here. Here you go. There she is right there. That's I don't have a
Oh my
video.
gosh.
I do have the photo. The It was or a video of a guy cheating on his wife with a female Bigfoot, which I think I would get a lot more hits on that one. Let me point out, if we had those videos, we would have shown them on the show a long time ago. Those videos don't exist. This is actually artificial intelligence photo of a lady hugging her Bigfoot boyfriend. But I needed something to show while we talk about it. So this is by an unnamed 57-year-old man in British Columbia who is a Bigfoot hunter. So one day in 2020, I believe, 2016, he goes hunting without his wife. Who because he didn't want to hear her constantly reminding him that, I'd rather be in Hawaii than hunting Bigfoot. So he goes, I can relate to that. So he goes without his wife, but he goes with his girlfriend. So the I lost my place here. So the wife goes to court to divorce him. She immediately files for divorce. She says he went on a Bigfoot expedition on Vancouver Island in 2020. I'm sorry, 2020. And here's what she said. Before the claimant returned home, she fired off a text to him declaring that their marriage was over and she never changed her mind. Now, my first question was, how did she find out that her husband was with his girlfriend and not with her hunting for Bigfoot? I think that a female Bigfoot saw them and got on the phone and texted this woman and says, "Hey, girlfriend, you don't know me, but I seen your man in a tent with someone, and it ain't you, honey."
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Wouldn't Bigfoot talk like that? I'm sure Bigfoot would talk just like that. So the woman files for divorce, but it gets hung up because the man wants the ex-husband now wants spousal support. He wants alimony from her rather than him paying alimony to her. I think I speak for everyone, both in Canada and the United States, when I say, eh?
That's appropriate, Paul. That's appropriate.
Here you go, John. Here's what happened. He claims that he's unable to work due to a mishap that occurred in 2016 during, you guessed it, another Bigfoot hunt. But wait till you hear this. This time he's staying in a hotel in a tiny village on Vancouver Island again when he slipped on an icy staircase, fell down, and suffered a range of injuries, including fracturing an ankle and a couple of vertebrae.
Oh my gosh.
I know. We should feel sorry for him, but wait a minute. Who stays in a hotel to hunt for Bigfoot?
That's a great question. I don't think I've ever heard that before.
Unless, John, maybe he thinks that Bigfoot would be at the hotel cheating on his wife.
Oh,
and would catch him, and boy, that would be a double whammy.
Could be a big web of deception going on there.
Yeah.
Maybe he's watching closed circuit TV.
That's right. Yeah, it could be anything, Karen. Yep. So the judge was not convinced that the husband was totally disabled by the accident and cannot earn an income from employment of some other kind, because the guy in 2020 was going out with his girlfriend looking for Bigfoot again, sleeping
Oh,
on the
geez.
yeah.
Really
So
complicated, Paul. Really
oh,
complicated.
it gets worse, John. So according to the judge, the claimant continues to enjoy camping, fishing, hunting, riding quad motorcycles, and exploring remote areas of British Columbia in search of Sasquatch. Now, I didn't see playing hockey on the list, but the guy probably he lives in Canada. You know, it's mandatory that you play hockey until the day you die. So he's
Or
probably
sure. Yeah, you would
yeah,
think so.
yeah, he's playing hockey. So the judge approved the divorce effective 30 days after the judgment, but he did not award spousal support to either the woman or the man. So neither one of them has to pay alimony. Bigfoot, this is for you, John. They wanted to subpoena Bigfoot, but they couldn't subpoena Bigfoot because the bailiff, the cop who was supposed to go out to get him, all he had were these blurry photos, and he couldn't recognize.
somehow that does not surprise me.
Yeah, who is this guy? I can't find him.
Oh, no doubt.
So there you go. So Bigfoot in court, only in well, it was in Canada, only in North America would that happen.
There it is. There it is.
So I love this photo. I'm going to use this in my next book, Bigfoot hugging the girl. And it's an adult lady. It's not a girl. Okay, so don't go accusing Bigfoot of any kind of shenanigans out there. It's not Bigfoot. It's that guy who was looking for Bigfoot that's in trouble. Okay, so last week we talked about some chocolate beer, which John commented that he'd like to try.
Yeah, I think I'd like that. I'm sorry, Paul.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Which is no surprise because the main ingredient in chocolate beer is beer. So I would think that John would be willing to try it. So let's see what you think about this one, John.
Okay.
This one is from Japan. Sapporo Beer, a brewery there, has introduced adult chocolate mint beer. Adult chocolate mint beer that testers say has the sweet yet sharp smell and flavor of chocolate mint combined with Sapporo's famous Hoppin' Garage Stout. So we have a picture up here of the can and also of the beer itself. If you feel your garage hopping, maybe you should stick to eating peppermint patties instead of drinking more. But
that's a good one, Paul. That's a good one.
So they call it adult beer, which you would think all beer is for adults, but they said that they label it adult in Japan because it's too sweet for the younger beer drinkers. Younger beer drinkers don't like sweet beer for some reason. If or maybe they get it confused with Yoo-hoo soda, that stuff that comes in a can.
Yeah, right. Sure.
If you don't have your glasses on, you could get mixed up. So anyways, the Yoo-hoo, by the way, they still sell Yoo-hoo. I didn't realize this. Made by Dr. Pepper. Besides chocolate, it also comes in vanilla, strawberry, cookies and cream, chocolate peanut butter, and chocolate caramel. I've seen it in the grocery store. My blood sugar goes up just walking past it. I don't need
it. Yep. Oh, yeah. It's got some calories in there.
So, John, would you drink adult chocolate mint beer?
I think I would take a try at this one too. I mean, I know that beer that you mentioned last week was odd, to say the least, but never say never. I think I'd take a shot at this one. Yeah.
It looks good. There's a little maraschino cherry on the can. I don't know.
See that. I see that.
They didn't say if there's cherry flavor in it. So my next question, I didn't ask this last week. What food would you say goes with chocolate mint beer? Do you have any suggestions?
Oh, I got an idea. I got one for you. What about Moose Tracks ice cream?
Oh, wow, there's an interesting combination. Well, okay, we'll put that on the list. So the taste testers asked the same question. What would we eat with the beer? So the first thing that they tried is the traditional thing that you eat with beer, sausages. So
sure.
Sausages and cheese, a little bit of ham there, some nondescript vegetable like lettuce. So the taster said after eating sausage and washing it down with chocolate mint beer, it made him go brat. So
Oh,
Oh,
geez.
didn't like that.
Oh my.
I know. Okay.
Thanks for the horn, Paul. Very good.
The
Very
next
appropriate.
thing they tried, next thing they tried was mint chocolate beer and chips. So here's a bag of Japanese potato chips. An interesting looking bag there. A little more beer missing here. So they tried. They were drinking. You can see they went into the bag there. But bottom line, the taster said that the chocolate mint beer with the chips made him feel ruffled. So
Oh,
oh,
didn't
jeez.
like, didn't like that either. So what did they stuck with what your suggestion, John. The next thing they tried was chocolate beer and an eclair.
Ah, something sweet. Yeah, sure.
Tester said, I declare eclair goes with chocolate mint beer.
oh,
Oh, you worked out pretty well, Paul.
There you go. However, they came with a warning. They said, for you people in the United States, if you do import it and try it, if you dunk your eclair in your chocolate mint beer, you'll get thrown out of Dunkin' Donuts because
Okay, that makes sense.
beer in there. So, okay,
That makes
one more
sense.
story from Japan. Well, so John, I think that sounds good. Chocolate mint beer and Moose Tracks ice cream.
Yeah,
We'll
I
probably
think so. I try that. Yeah.
put that on your menu. We'll see if we can get you a sample from Japan.
Okay. Okay.
It's for limited time only, so I'm not making any promises.
I
One more
understand.
story from Japan. So we just celebrated Groundhog Day, and we just did a story about Groundhog Day. In Japan, February 2nd, Groundhog Day in the United States, February 2nd is the last day of the Japanese lunar year. So instead of looking for groundhogs, people go to their local Buddhist temple hoping to catch dried soybeans thrown at them by priests in the hope of warding off evil spirits and inviting good luck for the next year. So instead of finding out if they're going to have 6 more weeks of winter, they're going to find out if they have another year of good luck by catching the beans thrown at them by these Buddhist monks, and it looks like there might even be some Buddhist nuns in there as well, throwing
Could
the
be.
beans in this picture from the temple. So,
Wow.
I think it sounds like it's something that might be lucky, unless you get a soybean in the eye.
ooh, yeah.
Oh no.
Or
That's
stuck
no
in your
good.
ear. You turn to
Hey.
talk to your spouse and you get hit in the ear with a soybean, and that's not good luck. Um, so they said that people actually dress in costumes to go to this. All
Oh
different kinds
wow. Yeah,
of
look at
costumes.
that.
Yeah,
Wow.
and it's like Mardi Gras. They said it's like Mardi Gras, except you don't get more beans if you lift your top. Um,
Well, I think that's okay.
well, they interviewed a couple of sumo wrestlers who said they didn't get more beans either. Um,
Oh,
Well, yeah.
so So here's what they say when you want them to throw you the beads or the beans, I'm sorry, the beans, you say demons out, fortune in. Demons out, fortune in, and then the monks throw the beans at you. You don't say bean me. Uh,
Okay,
Mistake because they have baseball in Japan too, so they understand what that
sure,
means. They
sure.
also warn everybody, don't eat the dried soybeans. So you're supposed to take them home with you and soak them. If you want to eat them, soak them in water, but don't eat them dry. Um, this might be a good thing to soak in that adult mint chocolate beer. Um,
uh, Comes around full circle. Right.
yeah. Now, you may ask, well, what happens if you can't make it to the temple on February 2nd? Well, a lot of families do the bean tossing at home. And what they do is they give the beans, the dried soybeans, to the oldest member of the family. And the oldest member of the family wears a red demon mask and throws the beans at the others. So that's the equivalent of what they're doing in the temple. And then afterwards, it's traditional that you eat the same number of beans as your age plus one for good luck and good health in the following year. So, I mean, it sounds like it might be lucky. I don't know. If you're the oldest person there, my guess is you're already farting quite a bit. And
Yeah,
so
that stands the reason.
I got to eat more beans and fart some more just to have good luck. I don't know. So you can see these people
Oh,
here. They're trying to catch the beans in bags. They're probably using their hats. This is a big thing in Japan.
yeah,
So
it looks like it. Wow. Man.
I think it would catch on in the United States. If, something else to do on Groundhog Day. Okay. According to new research, speaking of getting a soybean in your ear, the outer ears of humans may have evolved, get ready for this, from the gills of fish, which our ancestors had millions of years ago when we didn't look like we did now. So this explains why lately everything you hear sounds fishy. It,
Oh,
it's because
Okay,
your
good.
ears evolved from our ancestors who had gills. So I didn't have a picture of our ancestors with gills, but here's a bluegill, which is the next best thing. This is also why women like guys named Gil, because they said they listen to you more. So apparently it's hereditary. Um, the closest thing to what our ancestors look like, according to these people, are horseshoe crabs. So they're saying at one time humans evolved from something that looked like a horseshoe crab. And if you here's a picture of a horseshoe crab, if you don't know what they look like, doesn't look like me, doesn't look like Karen, doesn't
no.
look like John. I don't know who it looks like, but none of us. I can't see an ear on there either, but apparently it has an ear.
It looks
Um,
like it looks like my robot vacuum cleaner.
Uh-huh. There you go.
you're right. It does look like a Roomba. You're right.
Yeah.
Uh, so they said these are living fossils. They're still alive now. They haven't changed in 445 million years, which is the same with modern men underwear. We haven't changed our underwear in so I
No
can
need
relate to
to.
that. Well, yeah,
I'll offer it. No need to, Paul. No need to.
yeah. So horseshoe crabs are used for medicine in the United States. You extract their blood and it's used to treat certain diseases. Uh, and then you throw them back in the water. So it doesn't kill them to extract the blood. In China, in Southeast Asia, it's actually a delicacy. So they eat them. They eat the horseshoe crabs, which again, they also said it goes good with that adult chocolate mint beer. So everything we need to try some of this because it seems like everybody thinks it goes good. Fish can hear you. That's the thing that I learned from this is that fish can hear you because they've got ears like we do, apparently, which ruins dinner for me when I go to have lobster because now I know that the lobster can hear me picking them out of the tank. So also
uh,
for all you fishermen out there, don't go farting in the boat because fish can hear that too. So, they know it's that
thought
guy that,
provoking. Thought
yeah.
provoking, Paul. Very much.
So that's it. So never fish on Chinese New Year because you just had a whole plate full of soybeans that you collected from the temple.
Oh.
All right. This story freaked me out. I am afraid of heights. I'm not a big fan of heights. I will go on top of buildings, on tall buildings, but I won't lean over the edge and look. Uh, so this is too much for me. These German daredevils by the name of Fred Kuhn and Lucas Ermler took a walk across a slack line, a tightrope,
Mhm.
in between two hot air balloons.
Whoa.
Yeah, they were at an altitude of 8,202 feet. That's a mile and a half, over a mile and a half. And of course, they set a Guinness World Record for the highest slackline walk. They set a second record for the highest altitude. Two people looked down and said, "Hey, I can see my house from here." So the can you believe this? These guys actually walked across a slack line in between two hot air balloons. Then when they're done, Freddie Kuhn, jumped off the slack line and parachuted down to the ground. Well, when he jumps off, the other guy's still on the line. There's less weight on it. He gets shot up into the air and gives him the finger.
Wow.
You give me some warning that you're going to do this. So this is what happens when you shut down circuses. All of a sudden, all these trapeze guys and these tightrope walkers are out of work. And, you know, they can't get jobs like clowns. Clowns, circus shuts down, they can get a job in politics. They can go to the zoo and walk behind the elephant at the zoo. But the tightrope walkers, this is what they have to do. They got to earn a living walking in between hot air balloons. John, would you do something? Let me ask you this: would you go up in a hot air balloon in the
No,
mask?
I'm not a big fan of heights either, Paul, like you are, and I find that to be very dangerous. I mean, I think it would be exciting, but at this stage, I'm not going up in one of those things.
No,
No way.
no, no, me neither. In any stage of my life, I was not
Yeah.
not interested
Oh,
in going up in a high. I don't even like holding on to more than 5 or 6 helium balloons because you never know.
you go up with them. Yeah.
That's right. That's
Oh.
right. Might get a good breeze. The next thing you know, you're floating over Cleveland, looking down and saying, "Hey, I can see my house from here." The speaking
Ay,
of,
ay, ay.
speaking of walking behind elephants that are pooping, uh, England's Warwick Manufacturing Group has unveiled a Le Mans race car that runs on a byproduct of raw sewage, of which poo.
Oh.
Yes, that's it, John. There's a picture of it right there. Um, it can reach speeds that will make it competitive on the European Le Mans series of races in Europe. So well over 100 miles an hour, probably
Mhm.
150 miles an hour on poo, on sewage. Um, in the United States, a car that runs on raw sewage would have to race against similar cars that run on raw sewage, and the race would be called the Drop a Brickyard 500. Uh,
You're on a roll today, Paul.
thank you, John. Thank you. The uh, the races in Europe are limited. When they race more than one, they're limited to 3 cars because nobody wants to be in the second row behind the first 3 cars
Oh,
that are
no doubt about that. I can
sewage. Yeah,
understand why. Yeah, no
you know,
kidding.
I've been in some bad smelling cars, uh, but it usually got better by the time the people who owned the car, by the time their kids were diaper trained, uh,
Oh
you know,
yeah, sure.
stopped
Sure.
eating French fries in the car. Somehow the smell kind of dissipated. But I don't know. I don't think this will catch on in the United States. Cars
I
probably
hope
won't.
not, Paul and Karen and audience. Ooh.
It's a nice looking car. It is
But
really.
it's sharp looking, yeah, no kidding. But
So, anyways, I think with a couple of stories, with a sports story there, we have reached the end of my portion of What in the World. Yeah, there we go. There's our logo for What in the World of Sports with John Donalo. Oh, there's John's got a lot of fans out there that wait breathlessly to find out what sport he picks up for this week. And everybody knows I challenge John every week. I've known him since college. He knows more about sports than anybody I know. So I said, John, you're perfect to find us a sport that fits with the motto real sport, sometimes strange, always funny. And everybody knows John every week comes up with another one. He's got one this week. I know it. What's your sport this week, John?
oh, I'll be happy to tell you, Paul, Karen and audience. So interestingly enough, our sport this week is one that everyone has played, but one you probably never thought of as a sport. The sport is rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, I've played that.
Yeah,
Let
I
me
didn't know it was
explain.
a sport.
Well, let me explain, folks. So, believe it or not, rock, paper, scissors is a serious competitive sport with tournaments and training tips that we'll share with you. For
Wow.
the one person left who's never heard of it, rock, paper, scissors is a hand game played between 2 people in which each player simultaneously forms one of 3 shapes with an outstretched hand. The shapes are a rock, which is a closed fist, paper, which is a flat hand, and scissors, which is a fist with the index finger and middle finger extended, forming a V. Paul's got
Well,
a great picture there. Yeah,
well
sure.
explained, John.
Yeah. So, excuse me. The earliest form of a rock, paper, scissors style game originated in China and was subsequently imported into Japan, where it reached its modern standardized form before being spread throughout the world in the earliest 20th century. The
Wow.
rules the rules are simple. Players count to 3 and present their gesture. If both are the same, they try again. Otherwise, paper covers rock, rock breaks scissors, and scissors cut paper. I think a lot of people know that.
Yeah.
But while rock, paper, scissors is generally a game played in bars or used to settle a dispute instead of flipping a coin or beating each other up, excuse me, it is also a competitive sport, as I mentioned before. Karen, this is for you. The World Rock, Paper, Scissors Association and the World Rock, Paper, Scissors Society both hold tournaments around the world. In the US, we have the US Rock Paper Scissors League, which is sponsored by none other than Bud Light.
Wow. So, wow. Wow. There's enough money involved that Bud Light sponsors rock, paper,
Yeah,
scissors.
Bud Light sees it. There's something there. So
Oh,
the top players in these tournaments have some tricks they use, which I'll share with you. One is to shout out the name of a move before throwing a different one to confuse the opponent. Or
ah,
or another is to watch for the rock. Many inexperienced players will broadcast that are throwing a rock by not moving their fist during the count. To counter this, players learn to wait until the very last second before changing from fist to paper or scissors. So
ooh,
even in a simple game, there is strategy that is utilized. Now,
wow.
the game is so simple that scientists have trained chimpanzees to play. It is also so frustrating to others that scientists have developed sophisticated algorithms to help computers win against humans in the competition.
Ah,
Scientists at the Ishiwaka Wananabe Laboratory at the University of Tokyo created a robot hand that can play rock, scissors, papers. Can play the game with rock, paper, and scissors with 100% win rate against a human opponent by using a high-speed camera to recognize within 1 millisecond which shape the human hand is making and then produce the corresponding winning shape.
oh, that doesn't sound fair.
That doesn't sound fair at all, Paul. I agree with you. But our last piece of advice on the sport is simple. If you want to learn how to win at rock, paper, scissors, don't practice in front of a mirror.
Ah.
Just saying,
Oh,
just saying, folks, just saying.
Wow, yeah. Well, I was just getting ready to do that. Yeah.
Well, you try to get an advantage, Paul. I get
And it
that.
all made sense. Thank you,
Oh,
John,
yeah.
for that help.
Okay. You're
Holy,
welcome.
wow. The, some of the photos that we had here, they were actual referees refereeing actual matches.
Right.
Yeah, this is obviously a bigger sport than I imagined it to be. So
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I was really
yeah,
surprised when I did this research.
perfect sport for what in the world. And as John mentioned, we've all heard of rock paper scissors, not so much in the competitive standpoint. Although John, back when we were in school together, there was a day when there was a rock paper scissors tournament at our school between a couple of fraternities. Do you remember that?
Honestly, I don't. It's like I got another senior moment on this one, Paul. I really don't remember that.
Luckily, I think I have a photo or two here. So as always, John and I were the younger members of the fraternity, so we got stuck in this rock paper scissors tournament against another fraternity, And John and I really wanted to try hard to get ready for it, but we didn't have sophisticated algorithms, or we didn't have tips to from other experienced rock paper scissors players. So we came up with our own ways of training ourselves, and this is the end result of our training right here. So as you can see, John and I ended up pretty bloodied here. There's like
Oh my
John,
gosh.
he used a duct tape to bandage his wrist. I don't know what happened to you there.
There's
There's
a
a
lot of pain in that. Now, that's why I didn't remember it, because I had selective amnesia on that one. Look at the
I'm telling you,
pain that
I
those
know I'm
people
trying
went
to do
through.
paper. My hands tied together with a rope.
Yeah,
This is
really, no kidding. I want to forget that memory, that's for sure.
if I although I remember if I remember correctly, the other team took one look at us and out of fear they ran away. So we won by default. So I think
Well, hey, at the end of the day, as long as we won, that was what was important.
that's right. That's right. And you know, whether it's mint chocolate flavored beer or just plain old POC or Strohs, it took the
Oh my gosh. Oh my Lord. Oh,
well, okay, great story, John. Thank you for that support as
yeah,
always.
thanks, Paul.
We
Thank you.
reached the point of the show where we say it's time for Bluff the Co-host, everybody's favorite weird news game. Rules are simple in Bluff the Co-host. I have three stories similar to the ones we've been talking about all afternoon. One big difference: those stories were real. These stories may be real, maybe a bluff. It's up to Karen, John, and all of you playing at home to decide real or bluff. Wagering is allowed. So, John and Karen, put your hands on the buzzer. Let's get right to story number one. If you think bingo is a game for grandmas with giant magic markers, then you need to try artificial intelligence bingo, a new version of the game developed by a tech company in London that is credited with saving bingo halls from being torn down. The bingo caller, is an AI generated face on a large screen with flashing lights. As he or she calls the numbers, they are displayed on another screen with more flashing lights and loud sounds. If you get bingo, you take your card to the AI caller and have it scan your QR code. If you're a winner, if you're a winner, your prize is downloaded onto a gift card you can use at most stores or banks in London. Organizers say that the cost of renting the equipment gets paid off quickly by the increase in players who are younger than the usual bingo players. So, artificial intelligence takes over bingo in London. Real or bluff? Karen, we'll start with you.
I hate to believe that it's real, but I think it's plausible. So I'm going to say real.
Oh, Karen, one of our computer savvy people here says she thinks it's real. John taking the opposite argument, the opposite position.
You would think so, Paul. You would think I would take the opposite, but here's where I'm at on this one.
I'm
I
referring
agree
to the
with
technical
well,
savvy. What do you think,
well, I'm
John?
not computer savvy. No, everyone knows that. But I'm going to agree with Karen on this one. I believe that AI has been so pervasive and has reached into so many aspects of everyone's life that I think that it's now come to bingo.
Okay, all right. So both John and Karen say artificial intelligence bingo is a real thing. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say congratulations to both of you. That is the new way to play bingo in England.
Okay.
Very good, Karen. Very good. Very good.
Coming to the United States soon. So that means scores tied 1-1. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, let's get right to story number two, also from England. A woman in England is believed to be the first person ever to be charged with cyber farting after she was accused of recording videos of herself passing gas loudly and then sending them to her boyfriend's ex-wife to get even with her over some divorce issues. The videos were played in court and show the girlfriend smiling into the camera and farting loudly in 7 different videos that she sent over the Christmas holidays. The judge ruled that the videos were malicious and distressing, found her guilty of cyber farting and ordered her to pay a fine, victim compensation, and court cost. The judge told the woman he never wanted to see or hear her in his courtroom again, but told the media he feared there would be more copy fart cases in the future. All right, John, we'll start with you. Cyber farting as a real crime in England, real or bluff?
Well, I have to tell you that in the interest of decorum, I just hope this is a false story. I mean, this is over the top. I'm sorry. I mean, the whole I hope it's contrived, because if it really happened, I don't know, it just seems to be another thing that I can complain about in my old age.
John says it's a bluff and actually accused us of having in the interest of decorum. There's no decorum here on What in the
Well,
World.
I realize that, Paul. I'm trying to get us back to a little bit more of a straight path here.
All right. So John says cyber farting is a bluff. Karen, how about you? Real or bluff?
I hate to say it, but I think it's real because there are people who actually claim that they fart into boxes and then they sell their farts. So
Oh my
to,
gosh.
I have to say it's real, but I think it's disgusting as well.
That's too funny. Did they make money farting into boxes?
They
Because
claim
John
they do. They claim they do. Yeah. I mean,
we selling our farts and our urine. Boy, we could be billionaires.
Oh my Lord.
Oh, I'm sorry. There is no interest in decorum on this show. Okay.
right.
Yeah, I know that. I'm just trying to I'm just trying to straighten this out. Right,
Yeah.
right. Go ahead. What's the answer, Paul? What's the answer?
Okay, cyber farting. Karen says it's real. John says it's a bluff. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say congratulations on this one. Go to Karen. That is a real story. You're right.
Oh my
Sorry.
gosh. What is the world coming to?
I know. Yeah, pretty bad.
Well, now we've given the idea to people in the United States. So this is
yeah, right. That's the other thing now. Now we're going to be complicit in that, right?
like
Complicit in that kind of activity. Oh my gosh.
No. Oh, you know how many
boy.
people listen to What in the World? Yeah. So this is going to spread like wildfire. I'm not taking credit for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, good.
So let's see. It scores 2-1, but points are doubled in round number 3, which means that John could catch up if he has the right answer and Karen does not. So let's see how they do on story number 3. In the interest of decorum, here we go.
I know it's thought-provoking to say that, but anyway.
Women know that men have no idea how to properly use the female battery-operated sex toys. And that was proven by 2 mechanics in Croatia who bought out the sex toy inventory of a local adult novelty shop and then wired them together and used them to power a small electric vehicle. The rechargeable devices were fully charged overnight. Then the mechanics disconnected the battery of their tiny Croatian EV and began linking the devices together with wire and metal clamps. After duct taping the 50 devices into a shape similar to the car's battery, they inserted, no pun intended, the sex toy battery into the car, hooked it up to the car's battery terminals, and remotely, because they were afraid to get shocked, started the car. Once the lights came on, the braver of the 2 got in and drove the car around the garage before the battery died. While it was just for fun and internet fame, their wives were not impressed and said something in Croatian that roughly translated to, "Oh, the humanity."
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So two car mechanics in Croatia took the battery out of their EV, took 50 battery-powered sex toys and hooked them up and actually powered their EV. Real or bluff? Karen, I'm not even going to ask for any kind.
No, I'm. It's like, why did they have to use the sex toys? But that's okay. I'm going to say it's real because it's so off the wall.
And if there's a video, all right. So Karen says it's real. John, how about you?
I'm going to agree with Karen on this one. I think it's real, and it's in the realm of people do the weirdest things these days. So, I mean, when you think about this, you have to really put some thought to it. Like, this is what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to do this. And so it'll take the place of a battery. So, two mechanics doing this, it's very, very, very plausible. So, I'm going to say it's real too.
Yeah, I think one of them said to the other, "Hey, hold my chocolate mint beer and watch this." And
Everything comes around in full circle on what in the
Yeah.
world.
there you go. That's right. So both Karen and John say that it's a real story that two Croatian mechanics powered their car with 50 sex toys. The judges say the the person with no decorum is the guy who made up that story because it's a bluff.
Oh, Karen, we fell for it. We fell for
Yeah,
a
we
really
did.
bad one, right? Wow.
I don't
Hey, I
know
think
that. I think
really
the
quick though,
listeners are a little
that could
worried
be,
about the guy who came up with that story. I don't.
yeah, real quick. That could be the weirdest story ever.
Yeah.
That could be the weirdest story
Made
ever.
up. That's right. Please,
And we fell
kids,
for it.
don't. Yeah, this is one of those kids. Don't try this at home. Don't take your mom's whatever you do.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Don't ask
Okay.
dad for help.
Yeah, right. Oh my
All
Lord.
right. So let's see. So both of you were wrong there. That means that Karen wins 2-1. All right.
Karen,
Congratulations.
congratulations again.
Yeah.
Karen, very good. Very good
And
week.
poor John, that
John, you
means
better
that
study this week.
Well, Karen, you know what that
the
means? Back to the flashcards and
Yeah.
back to making the net. Help me get trained on some things. So
yeah, get your almanac out and start reading it.
gonna have to do that. Gonna
Yeah.
have to do that.
Well, that means we've reached the end of another episode of What in the World. I want to thank Karen Hale, our media mogul, our co-host, and the all the stuff she does, co-host, podcast supervisor, producer at newclevelandradio.net. Check out first our podcast, obviously, where there's go there on the bar on the top of the webpage, and there's a link to our podcast. Then check out all the other great podcasts Karen has, wide variety of podcasts. Also check out Yes I Can Coaching with Karen for all your coaching needs. Again, thanks for everything you do for us, Karen. And as always, thanks to my old buddy John Dinalo. He's great with the sports, great with the trivia, and great at putting up with my nonsense. John,
It's okay, Paul. Listen,
Sunday, I know what you're going to be doing Sunday.
yeah, I'm gonna be stuck. Well, I'll be watching a football game, but
Sure.
probably Monday I'll be cramming with the flashcards and everything else to get ready for the show for sure.
Okay.
Speaking of which, on just a quick sports note about that Super Bowl, I think a lot of people are rooting for the Philadelphia Eagles to derail the Kansas City Chiefs. I think there's a lot of Chiefs fans, but I think there's a lot of Eagle fans that I think want to be behind their team because of so much information, influence, and citing of the Kansas City Chiefs. And nothing against the Chiefs at all, but I just think that America a lot of times likes to root for the underdog. And I think in this case, being able to stop the Chiefs from winning 3 in a row, I think we'll be in there. So make sure everyone stays tuned and sees what happens.
Rooting for the under Eagles, as they say.
That's right.
Do you have a prediction?
Yes, I do have a prediction. And I'll even give you the score. I'm going to say Eagles 24, Chiefs 20.
Ooh,
Whoa.
okay. You heard it here first. All right. We will check with John next week to see how accurate he was. And as always, I hope you check with us next week, just like you are doing right now on What in the World. I want to thank all of our listeners. Without you, we wouldn't do this show. You're the reason why we come back and do it week after week. Why I spend my weeks looking for stories and coming up with weird ones that bluff. Work goes into it, but we do it because we love making people laugh. We love. Hopefully, you have as much fun listening as we do putting it on. So thank you so much for doing that. Come and visit me on Facebook. You can visit me on Blue Sky now. You can send Karen messages, email messages on her page. I have a web page. You can visit me there. You can find a link to my book, and you can do all that. That's great. We really do appreciate you doing all that. So on that note, I think we will head out for another 6 weeks of winter here in Cleveland, Ohio. And we'll be back here next week, right, Karen?
Well, have a great day, everybody. Bye now.
Have a good week, everyone. Bye.